Hello, my name is Jonathan Russell. I'm a student at Full Sail University attending to get my bachelor's degree in game design. I'm here to talk about a problem that I feel is plaguing the massively multiplayer online role-playing, or MMORPG, genre. What I'm referring to is the lack of narrative-driven gaming in the MMORPG world. Most MMORPGs nowadays have the same problem. They all run off of the same formula. You pick your class, you enter the world, you do the quests, and you level up. It's the same formula all the way through with different venues. What if I was to tell you it didn't have to be that way? What if, with work, we could manage to change this vicious cycle? There are even professional game writers who feel that players nowadays do not get to experience the full game. Sean Vanneman was the lead writer on the smash hit game The Walking Dead Season 1, while he worked at Telltale Games. One of the things he said in an article to Alex Woro of Gamasutra.com was just this, quote, "I reject the notion that the player should have to ignore certain aspects of the experience to find value in the narrative or connect to the story. If you're going to make games where the narrative matters, it's your job to communicate through design." End quote. Now, I'm not saying that writers in the MMORPG world are lacking incentive. World of Warcraft, one of the most popular games on the market, has wonderful, beautiful lore and several published books to go along with it. The story is there, but in my opinion, it's not communicated well enough. After playing WoW since its inception in 2004, I've realized one thing. It's not about the journey anymore. It's about how fast you get to the end. I've realized the same problem in most MMORPGs that I've played. A lot of players have come up with the approach that it's not a matter of how fun the game is, or can be, but how quick can I get to the end. I attribute this not necessarily to a lack of story per se, but a lack of engagement in the story. A player's decision has no effect whatsoever on the world, and therefore, why engage? Lately, many companies have tried their hand at the MMORPG world, and many have failed. The highly anticipated Elder Scrolls Online, though an amazingly beautiful game, lacks the full structure that other MMOs have. Many times while playing these games, I read in the chat box how this game is terrible, or that game is lacking, or this game is that. Gamers complain, but only amongst themselves, and it's always the same thing. I've come up with a solution for this problem. As amateur fantasy authors, my brother and I both enrolled in Full Sail University to bring our world to life. Myself in game design, my brother in creative writing for entertainment. And together, we came up with a way to incorporate everything that we, as gamers, want in a game, as well as things that we've heard from other gamers feel are lacking. With a brainstorming session, my brother and I came up with a plan for a game based in our world called Magnaral Online. Needless to say, one of the very first things we discussed about our game would be what our game would be like is player control and choice. There are no classes, only a set of skills which players can raise as they choose to do so. There is no leveling system, only a renown system, allowing players to do what they want, when they want. As far as story is concerned, the first iteration would take place during our book, a time that in the future will be called the War of Souls. However, players are not bound by following this story. They can if they choose to do so, or they can simply do what they wish in the world. Having been a gamer for many years, almost 23 to be exact, I feel as though I know at least a minor bit of the gaming genre. One thing I've always wanted is player control. I want my choices to matter in the world. Following quests blindly just to reach max level isn't a gaming experience, it's a bore. I urge my fellow gamers, my fellow MMO delvers, and my fellow digital immersers to rise up against this standard. While we may not all be game designers, and while we may not all be creative writers, we are the players. We are the ones in control. The large corporations know this. Without us, they will fall. Unless we rise up, we will never get what we want. And this is our world.